All right, the song is over. Everyone can come back in.
Hey,
And with that lovely song introduction, welcome, folks, to episode 33 of the HACJAC Show. Normal episode for this week in the midst of this pandemic we're having. This will be a lovely 6 months we'll never forget. And of course, I am Hack, the ever forgetful and most beautiful.
all right. That was a weird one. And I am your self deprecating co host, Jack.
And we have a special guest with us on tonight's episode. Please introduce yourself.
I'm the very, very handsome and slightly ghetto machine.
Yes, and it's the same Ghetto Machine for those who watch my 101 stream hangout. So it's the very same one. Now, Ghetto Machine, before we begin, uh, I want to let you know that the first time I mentioned you to Jack, it took him a while to recognize in his brain that when I said the words, so I was speaking with Ghetto Machine, it took him a full second to realize I was talking to a person.
That's okay.
Yes, and and that was just the most hilarious thing ever. And from this day forward,
Did he think I was a car or something?
what was that?
Did he think I was
No,
a car?
I don't remember what I was thinking, but really, I just never. I don't know. I thought he was just talking about some weird, obscure thing that he always talks about obscure objects and like media. So I thought he was just saying something, and I was just going, oh yeah.
He thought I was
Oh, you were
talking.
speaking to your machines,
He,
like
he
always.
thought I was talking about some anime from the '80s that no one knows about. Which, by the way,
Uh,
that's
You are half right.
you know you know what? With a name like Ghetto Machine, why isn't there an anime? God dang it! Just on the name
Like I
alone.
said, the close. I mean, like I said, I took the name from an old 1990s heavy metal Japanese.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I do recall that. Still, though, it needs to come back. Ghetto Machine needs to come back. But we're on episode 33 of the show, and and our co he was gonna ask, what we're gonna talking about for today's episode, and there's a few things actually, very few things, because obviously eventually it's gonna lead to us just talking about whatever nonsense pops in our head. But
Verbal shit posting.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I want you to just kind of start off today with just this simple question. This is the and just very simple topic. All right. So the question is
Mhm.
this: is anyone here at all excited for PS5 at all?
no, not really.
Uh,
I
I gotta see what's coming.
I
I mean, I
mean,
just switched to PC.
yeah, like PC. Of course, I really love PC, but I don't know when it comes to the consoles. Xbox has really been putting it out there more, especially with the potential of how the Xbox Series X is going to look like.
Yep. And with today's big reveal, basically mean here's the specs. Pretty much, I'm on the just. I'm just gonna wait for what games are. I'm sure it's gonna look nice. I'm sure there'll be cool features, but games. What are the games?
What were the
Well,
specs? I actually missed it.
Um, to be extremely general, it is. I do know for a fact that it is not as powerful as an Xbox Series X. But one thing I think I
It's
do know for
PC.
sure is that they have what is that called? The SSD drive? Is that what it's called?
Well, no. Well, if you're talking about then an SSD, then the Xbox Series X has a terabyte of that.
What I was gonna say was that one thing that I noticed is that for the SSDs, Sony's gonna make their system in which you can use almost any SSDs for that system instead of any proprietary one developed by Sony. That was honestly the only thing I
Okay.
remembered. I can't give you exact numbers or anything like that because wanted to see what was in store in terms of software, not really hardware.
Hmm.
But I think I'm in the
Uh,
same boat with y'all. Seeing as a PC, I don't see myself getting a PS5 in the near future. Maybe my little brother, but he's a little kid, so what are you gonna do?
I'll probably hop on if they got something really, really worth it.
Like Last of Us Part 2?
Who knows?
I'll just wait for the YouTube video.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I saw a thing where I know it could be wrong. I guess it was supposed to be like a brand new thing where you can now traverse upward in the game. You can climb stuff.
That's a new feature.
I guess they just
They
put
advertise that as a new feature.
yeah, what you can do in like in Uncharted, you can do in Last of Us now. Only took another generation of gaming to do it.
But the thing is that I don't know about the really right now. Like, consoles is always all about exclusives, like what exclusives they're gonna have and everything like that.
That
But
that's true, and I think if for most people, maybe they just be waiting for what's the next Spider-Man's gonna be. I know at least I'd be waiting for that.
Yeah.
yeah, but like I've been seeing that recently. Some of the even the PlayStation exclusives have been going to PC. So who
Oh,
knows?
really?
Like Horizon Zero Dawn is one example
Oh,
of
yeah.
that.
Oh, that's right. I
I,
forgot.
Yep.
I forgot that game existed.
Same
Yeah.
same here. I mean, to be
I,
fair, that game came
I
out during Breath of the Wild, so
Yeah.
actually I remember the game only exists because it got a costume in Monster Hunter World, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
oh, speaking
But
speaking
mhm.
of, uh, that game's for free
Hmm?
on PlayStation right now.
Really?
Monster Hunter World?
Ja, it could have been
Oh,
over,
like for
but
PS Plus?
probably. Either way, it's through some way you can legally play it for free on PlayStation. So there's that. I still need to play that game, but I need number one a set time to actually dedicate to it.
That game is fun, but like as you need time because if you don't and you did it like me where you played it for a good few days and then stop completely for months, come back, you don't know what's happening, forget everything.
What
I
are we
remember that
hunting
game.
again?
You're like, yeah, what are we hunting? What's the story? What am I building for my gear again?
Wait, didn't Monster Hunter World come out the same day as Dragon Ball Fighters?
I
Yeah.
yes, it
Because
did.
I remember I went in there to like buy Fighters, and I only picked up World because one of my friends was like, "Oh, dude, you should get World. We can play together." I'm like, "Okay." So then I logged more time into World than I did Fighters.
Hey man, at least you got a better value by the end. Would you like to play the fifth version of Goku in the DLC? God dang.
Uh, we've got Goku the Gray, Goku the Black. Actually, you know what? No, we don't have Goku the Gray yet because they didn't put Turles in. But give it time.
Wait, so does that mean Ultra Instinct Goku? Can you technically say that's Goku the White?
Yes, yes.
That's my head canon. That's my head canon. And also, I remember looking up more some stuff about fighters recently. I forgot they put GT Goku in the game.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's supposed to represent both like old school Dragon Ball Goku and GT Goku because he used the Power Pole too, if I remember correctly.
I just forgot he was in it. Much like I forgot that Videl and Jiren was in it.
I try to forget Jiren exists.
That's
Jiren's
easy,
just
man.
he's a disappointment.
I I always forget King Boo is in that game,
I don't
and he was in the
freaking.
base game.
I never forget, especially early on online play. There were
Yeah, yeah,
so
you're
many
right.
Kid Buu
He was.
players.
I think what made me forget is I remember more of the story, and the fact that they just didn't have Kid Buu as a vital part of the story. Instead, you just fought him along the way.
Yeah, and also, isn't it funny that the way the story is done in Fighters is with an actual even though it has an actual story and there's some more mechanics to mess around with. I had a much enjoyable time playing the single player mode in Budokai 2 than in Fighters.
Oh my god, the single player mode of Fighters was horrendous.
Was
I
Having
that
to
didn't stop
play
me from
that
playing it on hard though.
having to play that story mode 3 times,
Hmm?
uh, it was annoying.
once was enough for me, and after that I'm like, you know what? I got I don't care about Android 21. I don't want this waifu bait, and I pre-ordered the games. I already got SS Blue, Goku, and Vegeta, so I'm fine.
Normally I'm on your side, but this particular waifu bait appeals to me. She's got
You know,
painted fingernails and glasses and curly hair. That was it. I was done. I was done. And she
And
turns pink.
we all have our weaknesses. Just remember, she's only 6 years old.
To quote R. Kelly, to quote R. Kelly, how old is six really?
Oh, Japan never changed. Never changed
uh,
Japan. Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna put something in general. That one. Anytime when I think of Dragon Ball Fighters, I just think of this.
and speaking of Japan, oh, what was it? And actually, speaking of bad Japanese, well, it's not a bad game, but bad stuff in Japanese games. So I watched more Death Stranding recently
Mm-hmm.
to
That was
get
your first mistake.
my first. Well, I want because I needed to see the whole thing through. I ain't never gonna play it, but I need to know. I just need to know.
Just wanted to watch them.
Yeah, and so far I know less about that game than I did when I first started watching it.
Imagine being one of the people who paid $60 for this.
Because Kojima can do no wrong.
Well, the people that paid $60 for it love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna
They
be one
got
of
Stockholm
those.
syndrome.
It's gonna be one of those. Either you really love it or you really hate it. It's like one of those games. Not even those good kinds. But
I was put off for it from it whenever I saw trailers for it, and I was just like, okay, what's the gameplay like?
it,
And like nothing explained it.
it shoots and ladders the
It was
game,
like, oh,
man.
score.
Just add some briefcase combat to it, though.
Yes, your tactical briefcase combat. And one thing I took a note because there's one few things I noticed in that game I was watching in the story. There is an entire character in which all she does is go to your main character's dreams just to say, "Hey, meet me here. Hey, meet me here. Do you remember? Do you remember?" That's all she ever talks about. And
Oh,
Well,
and because these two characters are sister and brother, they like are the most unnaturalist siblings I've ever seen in the way they act around each other and
what, like
interact.
that one coffee commercial?
Guess it's just like Buzz. Like, do you say anything else besides just meet me at the beach? Meet me at the beach. I'm no longer at the beach.
Okay, okay, just imagine how it probably sounds in Japan. In Japanese, it's probably nothing but Oni-chan, Oni-chan.
And the
That's all.
weirdest part is in anime you can get away with it just because how ludicrous it is. But since they're mocapping real people, it's weird, man. It's weird. Oh my god, does that mean that Norman Reedus is dubbed in Japanese?
Yeah,
Wait,
it has to be.
wait, hold on. Hold on.
Hey,
Now
he's searching a death. Japanese stuff.
Oh, now I'm just curious if they either record made the game in English first or they made it in Japanese first.
I'm gonna assume they make Japanese. I mean, in English
Okay, they'll be then
on the ground.
then it'll be
On the
like
grounds that I put, because I think the Metal Gear like that.
no, I don't think Metal Gear is like that. I do know it was very surreal, Jack. I remember out of pure curiosity, I booted up Resident Evil Revelations on my 3DS, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it in Japanese, assuming that because it's a Japanese game, you'll put in the thought process, the original audio, right?
Mm.
Mm.
Never once ever saw a Japanese game in which the Japanese is out of sync with the acting. With the acting,
I know games actually did that. I
and
know the Devil May Cry games didn't get an actual Japanese dub until 4 Special Edition.
so number one, my first thing my mind went, so those exist. So those exist, and number two, I was like, wow. I guess to really enjoy Resident Evil, you do just have to play it in English.
Which now you just made me curious if over in Japan they're just hardcore. No, you gotta play Resident Evil with the dub on. You have to
Ah,
play it. No, no, no. Sub is the only way to experience this game. Do they have like sub and dub purists? Because
yo,
I know in the Japan, I know for like television shows they have that. Like, there's a hardcore like sub versus dub argument for King of the Hill.
yo, Aniki,
Wait, what?
Aniki.
King of the Hill?
Yeah, you never heard about that? Like in Japan, there is a hardcore sub versus dub debate over King of the Hill, on whether or not you should watch King of the Hill in Japanese or in English with subs.
I'm curious. Let me
Wait,
know.
I need to hear Boomhauer in Japanese.
Oh, that's. I need to know. In the, I guess the Japanese dub of King of the Hill, does everyone speak in a Kansai accent?
I can't tell you. I think I've only barely seen it, like a few episodes of it, and that's been out of context clips.
Oh my gosh, how do you dub King
Like
of the
there's
Hill
some,
in Japanese? How do you do that? That's.
I mean, there's several shows that you really wouldn't think would like have Japanese dubs. Like there's a Japanese dub of the Boondocks,
Oh,
and it is weird. It is so out of place because
Riley-san, Riley-san.
they leave in the N word too, which
So
Oh,
they
it's so
leave it
weird.
in.
It's so weird. Hank sounds so weird. Why does he sound so high pitched?
oh no. Is he also
You
voiced by
see,
an elderly Japanese woman?
It sounds like it.
Oh no.
Here, I'll show it to you then.
And I'll show it to
Oh,
the stream because I need to know.
brought this upon us. I can't unhear it now.
All right. Let me show it on stream. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Monitor 2. There we go. All right. All right, I'm going to see it right now.
だから恥ずべきなのはトイレで時間を無駄にしているお前たちの方だ。
試しにしゃがんでやってみろよ。その方が出やすいって聞いたことがあるんだ。
俺の経験だと芝刈り機に乗るってのも効果があるみたいだ。
二人とも頼むからその話はもうよしてくれ。
いやハンク、ずっとあんたのことを考えてたんだ。どうすりゃ腹がすっきりするかってね。で俺が思うにやっぱりジョギングとか水泳が一番だ。体を動かせばきっと規則正しく出るようになる。
私のおばさんは妊娠して治ったって。
Boku no, I like the pinned comment in the bottom. Boku no Hanku's Academy.
That was for some. They nailed Dale. I'm not Dale. They nailed Bill. I'm surprised at that. They nailed Japanese Bill. You know what makes me wonder though?
What?
What?
How is that episode?
Yes.
How is the Japanese dub in the episode where the Hill family goes to Japan?
I feel like it'd be the equivalent of well, whenever an anime has to dub characters going to Japan, and well, going to America, and they just all speak the same language, but
So
they have
let
to
me.
speak completely exaggerated.
I guess, but still, let me just. I'll be. I'll. If I was the person in charge of the dub version of that show and the episode came, that will be my moment to shine and be like, you know what? Let's make this ours and just put in just as many obscure Japanese humor into this one episode of an American show. Is essentially they just abridge that entire episode.
I would like to
Now
see that.
I kind of wonder if there's like a show that they dubbed in Japanese from America where it is completely different. It is a straight comedy. Because I know the French dub of Fist of the North Star is like that.
The French dub?
Yeah, the French dub of Fist of the North Star is a total comedy. Like all the characters, like attacks are named after food.
And I thought France loved Japan.
Baguette strike.
You know, you're not completely wrong.
Oh my god.
It is exactly like that.
Oh my god. So okay. Oh man, I'm glad. I've heard I heard inklings of of King of the Hill, but I never found evidence for it. So I'm glad to get you that you confirmed it for me. Now I've made it my mission if I ever go back to Japan, just to
To buy
find one.
box set DVDs of King of the Hill in Japanese.
That's step two. Step one. Step one will to be to befriend a Japanese native, just so we can talk about King of the Hill.
Yeah, you get into really heated subs versus dub debates about King of the Hill.
And I'll be the one. I'll be the gaijin coming up going, learn English, Bacchus. So with all that said, I want to go into the first thing I want to show you. Now, Jack is aware of this, but I want to take you even deeper. We gotta go even deeper, Leo. And Ghetto, are you familiar with the recent certain announcements from Marvel Comics?
Uh, you mean the New Warriors?
Yes, the New
I
Warriors.
I was hoping it'd be something else.
I kid you not. One of my channels I subscribe to, he loves the New Warriors. Like he considers it
Oh,
the greatest series he's ever read. And so when he saw this news and he saw what happened, the first video, I'd never heard a man just sound with utter defeat in his voice. Like utter defeat. And that was just based off just what he was looking at the designs. Now we have info on what the characters, what their names are, and what they do, because it's more than just the main two that everyone's talking about.
okay.
So so I'm gonna go with you like that. Here, so let me show you guys on my screen. Say a specific tweet on my Twitter, pretty much summarize what I'm talking about. So here. All right. So I'm also gonna share it on the Discord, so you guys can see it. So the first one. So the leader of the New Warriors is first Trailblazer, the body positive girl. She's a regular kid skilled up to the world of teenage superheroing. Her magic backpack is actually a pocket dimension with infinite space from which she can pull out useful or random objects. Is not always under her control. She claims to get her power from a god, but not the god you're thinking of.
Why?
And it doesn't work in the
Okay.
Marvel setting. There's like several gods.
Yep. And her name is Trailblazer, and she looks like this.
So she's basically just woke Ramona Flowers. And honestly, I wouldn't hate this like design and character if if there wasn't something else. Like I could see this being in an image book, but this looks like
I could see this.
actually
I could see this as being in some sort of like like a story set in the future where everyone says, where everyone says, what's that slang word from Batman Beyond?
Shui.
Everyone says shui. I could see it that,
Oh,
But
damn.
as a superhero team in modern Marvel, doesn't she scream just
I don't even hate
superhero?
this. Mm, I, you know what? I wouldn't hate this if the story went with that she was just bad at being a superhero.
But Ghetto, how dare you? You're saying a woman, a brown independent woman, can't be good
Oh
at
yeah,
her job?
right. Don't get me canceled, man.
So that's Trailblazer. We want to go to the next one. Gonna go to the next one here. Oh, excuse me for that.
The gringo.
Um, no, I don't think he is Gringo. So here's this one. This one's funny.
I'd be a better
Screen
name.
time. A meme obsessed super teen whose brain became connected to the internet after becoming exposed to his grandfather's experimental internet gas. Now he can see augmented reality in real time maps and can instantly Google any fact. Does this make him effectively a genius? Genius? He sure acts like it does.
Why does he look like as if Ben 10 became a meme lord?
You know what? Now I'm looking at it, it really does. Yeah, he has the It looks like he has the freaking Omnitrix on his side of his visors. But
I
most importantly, experimental internet gas.
Wow, that's a whole new meaning to the cloud.
That's you get a pun coin for that one.
Hey, I got a pun. Wait, no, I'm the one that delivers the pun coins.
I'm the Federal Reserve. I make pun coins that have no value.
What's the exchange rate on those? Are they worth one good boy point?
One pun coin is
Are they?
is worth 1,000 pesos,
Oh, hey, that's a lot.
and 1,000 pesos back in 1992.
Oh, okay.
Any case, so screens. Yeah, I actually do dig the design. If he looked like it was gonna be for like some sort of not just any future
He
story.
looks like he's from. He looks like he's from a show within a show.
Yeah, I could see this guy being
Like
like
some.
the tech geek in some sort of show some sort of extreme sports show where everyone does hoverboard competitions or something.
Right.
I
Like
could see
maybe.
working like that, just not as a Marvel superhero.
You know,
Like,
they're gonna add in a lot of cringy things to him. Like I'm gonna wait
yo,
for the
how much you
day
want to?
that in the comic he's gonna start floss.
Oh no.
Yo, how much you want to bet?
I
Easy
would
bet.
bet 20 pun coins.
Now, is that on
Like,
issue one, or if it ever happens?
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say issue one. I
Yeah, I'm
expect
gonna
like
say
issue
issue
two.
5. I'm gonna say 5.
No, no, that's the end of it. They're not just gonna spring that on at the end.
Oh
It'll
wait,
be
how
issue
many
two.
issues are there then?
It's a
Um,
5 issue mini.
yeah. So maybe issue three, maybe two. It's gonna have
Yeah.
to be
Yeah,
early on.
I expect him to just be really gay and then nothing else from him.
No, oh, no, no. He's not gonna be the gay one. The next ones. So now the ones everyone's talking about: Snowflake and Safe Space.
That one always fly.
A psychic twin, Snowflake, a cryokinetic, can materialize snowflake-shaped shuriken projectiles for throwing. Safe Space can materialize pink force fields, but he can't inhibit them himself. The reflex only works if he's protecting others. They're hyper aware of modern culture and optics, and they see their superheroics as a post ironic meditation on using violence to combat. I can't finish this. No, I'm not going to finish the sentence.
This is like a post
Combat
for the
bully.
Burger King kid.
Okay, so safe space can materialize pink force fields, but he can't inhabit themselves. Okay, that's kind of a
That's
Ver-
Steven Universe.
yeah.
and Snowflake can make shurikens out of ice.
Just shurikens?
Uh,
But why
Is it?
shurikens?
I don't know. Maybe she really loves Sub Zero. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe those shurikens look like snowflakes.
Actually, they do. It's snowflake shaped shurikens.
So
They're
that's
both.
her only weapon, and she
e-
can't just like Ice Blast or something.
No.
So they're both boring and useless for completely different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could see Snowflake here working if she was like a stealth-based character.
I could see it working if just copy Mortal Kombat if she was an ice ninja.
Yeah.
What if with safe space, he can like be able to control the shape of it, or it just like trap someone in there and then kind of crush them?
Nah, nah,
I,
just copy Okuyasu's stand. He
no,
can remove or add space.
I just realized he's a more useless Invisible Woman from Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Because
that's right.
Earth,
Oh my
he
god.
can't even turn invisible. He is just a really gimped Sue Storm.
Well,
Horrible.
yep, and with those shorts, you know what he's doing on the weekends.
You could
Pilates.
tell they came up with the names first, and it was like, oh, we got to think of something.
And I remember seeing also a video of the writer for the first issue, pretty much just doing his pitch, and
Mm,
their names, yeah, they're as you think, they're intentional.
he came up with that first.
Pretty much, they're meant to be like subvert your expectations. She calls Snowflake, but she's the one that fights, and he's called Safe Space, but he's the one that protects people, or something. Actually, that kind
He
of
wanted to
fits.
subvert if he wanted to subvert expectations, he'd have just killed them all from the first issue.
I'll be laughing if This will be too good for Marvel. If they all this get all this PR just so they can kill off these characters in issue one, and then you get the real New Warriors as the actual characters.
I'm trying to think there was something that did that reveal, and they did that, and I can't remember what it was. Okay, it was the very first trailer for No More Heroes, and then where Travis just kills the first guy you see, and it's really him. That's it.
I haven't seen that
If they
trailer in
pull
a
one of
long
those,
time. Are you sure you're not
they
confusing
pull
it
one of
with?
those.
Are you sure you're not confusing No More Heroes 2, where it's
No, no,
like,
no. It was the very, very first No More Heroes trailer where Travis had like a broken English accent because they didn't get an English actor for him yet,
oh, that's
and they
lovely.
hadn't quite they hadn't quite finalized it. So if they pull that, I will buy like the whole series. I will buy all 5 issues.
And the trade. Don't forget the trade, man.
Oh yeah, the trade too.
And the Funko Pops, all the Funko Pops.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
last is
watched the.
and last is certainly not least, we also have, um, and even it kind of speaks for itself. Be negative. I don't think they even tried with this one.
That was the last one he came up with.
That's yeah, punk rock Dracula over here. Be negative, a teen living vampire exposed to Morbius's blood as a child in a rogue but life-saving medical procedure. He still ages like a regular kid, but has all the abilities of Morbius. He's also obsessed with all the music and attitude of a classic long past decades like the 90s and the aughts. The world is a vampire, and so am I.
Oh no.
He wrote that. He was serious when he wrote that.
The
He
world is a
sat down and was like,
vampire,
"Oh,
and so
Oh my
being
god.
negative is a god kid.
I'm 14, and that is super deep."
I
Oh
I
god.
just I just I just realized why Jag reacted because I don't listen to this type of music, but I do know that one lyric, so it took me a while to figure out why he groaned. Oh
What
my
is it?
god! And also, yeah, long past decades like the '90s and the early 2000s. Yeah, those long ago times. I mean, I guess you could
I
say
did.
that. It
I did
still
not
feels
see.
it still feels recent to me.
I don't pay
Bet you.
$5 to hear a Marvel comic call me old.
I bet you this kid listens to My Chemical Romance,
Unironically.
unironically.
Well, with a cape like that, and you actually, looking at it, not only does he listen to My Chemical Romance, he also makes AMVs if that weird belt is to go anything by, because that is like that's straight out of Final Fantasy. The way he has that belt around his thigh, He just needs just 5 more belts, and he will be a Nomura design.
and he won't shut up about Kingdom.
He will not shut up about Kingdom
Wait,
Hearts.
he keeps like a book around it of some really old pretentious book. He just randomly cites it. He doesn't actually. He's never read the book. He just picks random quotes to seem deep.
And
Leans against.
and when he finally got his YouTube channel, he makes all these cringy videos of him just bashing religion. It's 2007 all over again.
Why do we need guys like Thor? Thor's never done anything.
And it's like, Galactus isn't real, right? He's just a conspiracy by the government.
I swear I've read a comic where he said.
I swear
I
to you.
swear I've read that.
I swear to God that Iron Man, he is a capitalist pig.
Oh my, yes, let's make him a socialist too. He voted.
Spider-Man?
If he could, he would vote for Al
saw.
Gore. I saw an Inconvenient Truth. That movie it changed my world, man. It makes you realize, we're just gonna die, man. We're just gonna die. You're heroes, ladies and gentlemen. You're heroes.
Now that I think about it, doesn't Marvel have some of them where they're trying to get rid of Teen Hero? Like it just
Yeah.
came out today.
Oh yeah, Outlaws. I was thinking of getting it, but then I saw better books.
I don't know. You should get it if you need toilet paper.
Oh, that's true. But actually, you know what? If and God forbid, if my household becomes that desperate, you know what I could do? My my comic shop. I kid you not,
No.
Ghetto and Jack has rows upon rows of Thor #1s. I'm talking each of row are stacked with Thor #1s and with variant covers. If I could, and desperate times calls for desperate measures, I could go to that store, save them from Marvel's greedy practices, buying as much of Thor #1s as I can, and finally Donny Cates' writing will be worth something outside of Venom.
I'm still like, I'm still dead over if my asshole ever becomes that desperate.
Only problem is, considering it's Marvel, the ink might rub off your butt.
That's okay. I heard
You
that
got
from
Thor's
Lisa.
face on your butt.
Pretty much.
You should just invest in a bidet. That's what I'm thinking. If it gets any worse.
Yeah, that's the smarter thing to do. Invest in a bidet. Be like our European brethren and Asian brethren overseas.
See, that's the thing. I don't like water squirting up my ass.
It's cleaner.
It's
You'll get used to it. As someone who had to learn it while they're in Japan, you get used to it.
Hey, it's cleaner.
Only problem is you got to make sure that before you put your pants on that area is dry.
Yeah. Seems like that would be the thing.
Yeah, that's the only downside.
Yeah, I can't walk around with the swamp ass.
Tell that to Wooly.
My favorite DC hero, Swamp.
Know what you mean, man? Thing.
No, that's giant sized man. My favorite Marvel hero. That's like my favorite bit of trivia, that they released a book called Giant Sized Man Thing and nobody stopped them. I was like, wait a minute.
They probably knew what they were selling out to the newsstands.
They didn't realize it until it got to the newsstands. They were like, oh. They kept it going.
Or just like that one issue of Action Comics where you got a little boy hugging his pillow crying, and you got Superman in the back who it's Clark. He's getting ready to undress. In context, he's getting ready to do a Superman thing. Outside of that context, it's the most.
Is that actually in the comic, or is that one of those panels?
It's a cover. It's a literal cover. I
Oh.
don't know which action. Hold up. Let me do some sleuthing here.
Going to Super Dickery.
Let's see, Superman cover. Let's see. Maybe I can put up Bat Superman cover. Let's see if I can find what I'm looking for. Da 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 da.
I love that like period of comic just because the covers had nothing to do with the stories. Silver Age was a joy.
You know what else is a joy? You know what else is a joy? When Superman got mad at Lois because she was getting fat.
Ah,
I'm personally a fan of Lois Lane becoming a black woman.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was
wait,
a
what?
thing. Explain to him,
Yeah,
Ghetto. Explain.
okay, good. There's an old Silver Age issue where like Lois Lane tries to talk to some kids in the hood, and they're like, "We don't want to talk to a white lady,"
Yo, honky.
and then they're like, and and somebody else is like, "You don't understand what the Negroes are going through." And so Superman apparently has a machine that changes people's races, and Lois Lane steps into the machine and becomes a black woman to experience all the issues black people go through. And the moral
What?
of the story: don't be racist.
What? Why this? Okay, my only and biggest question is why does Superman have that type of machine?
It was a Silver Age, he had everything.
Like,
There was a period where they invented new powers for Superman just because they needed it for the story. Like when Superman could fire small Supermans from his hand,
wait, what?
or when he
Wait,
became an ant.
I gotta.
Found it. Just so
Oh
everyone can
no!
see.
Oh no, little Timmy, little Timmy, I'm sorry.
There it is. Action Comics number 457.
Going in super raw.
Oh man. Oh no. And people wonder why it took almost an entire century for comics to get serious.
Why did this kid feel so offended knowing that Superman is Clark Kent, as if he knew who Clark Kent is? It's
To
a
be
boy.
honest, that cover probably has nothing to do with the actual story. That
Pro-
kid might not even be in that.
Probably. Hey, but on the top is the return of Green Arrow and Black Canary.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, did either of you guys watch Birds of Prey? I didn't.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Not
Y'all
even.
didn't even pirate it.
Oh, dude,
No.
come on. Is that movie even worth pirating?
No, but I feel like I'm gonna end up seeing it at some due to someone else, somebody putting it on, and I can't leave the room.
The only thing I know for sure is of course, like all things that you're expected to fail, it fails, but doesn't fail hard enough. Like just keep seeing some cover reviews from people that I follow is like you think it would be this really uh bad movie is just mediocre. So I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's like I full on expected that. I didn't expect it to be Catwoman 2.0 or anything. Like I just kind of expected it to be. I expected it to be at least somewhat better than Suicide Squad, but that doesn't make it good.
no, the next Suicide Squad movie that will surpass it will be Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, no. The
Uh,
Suicide Squad.
Exact.
Don't forget that.
I just find it funny with some movie titles for comics. They're kind of mimicking the comics in that, hey, what should we title this? And I just call it the same thing as before. When they get confusing, nah, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's got the at the beginning. Kind of like how all three Shaft movies are just Shaft.
Or or the fourth Fast and Furious movie is just called Fast and Furious.
No way, is that true?
Yeah, the fourth movie is just called Fast and Furious. They took out the thes.
oh yeah,
Oh
they
my
did.
god,
I still contend though that the best sequel name is Too Fast, Too Furious.
that's true.
So,
They had nowhere to
hack.
go but
Yes,
down
Jack.
after that.
Okay, I'm sorry that this is way off topic,
Go
but I
ahead.
need you to see this.
All right. What am I?
This
Oh
is
boy.
for our governor.
Uh
He
oh.
tweeted this out for the whole coronavirus thing.
Oh. Oh. Get. Let me ask you. Are you a drinker?
Hell yeah.
Well, you better move to Texas because the restaurants in Texas can now deliver alcoholic beverages with food purchases to customers. In response to hashtag coronavirus, highways and regulations that hindered that these next few weeks, it's important to support our restaurants. They're a great source of food for Texans.
You know,
They're
yeah,
a
I'll
great
probably
source of
catch a
food.
flight to Texas for $2.
So yep, so come on down. We can have alcohol delivered to you. Just bring some tip money.
All right, cool. Tip will probably be more than the flight though.
Flying in this conditions, now you're driving.
The roads will be empty too, though. All right.
Then you better you better learn instant transmission. Then
Oh, I wish I learned that. Oh,
that'll be so useful.
oh no, I'm late for work.
Jack, how'd you get here? I I,
Yes,
I flew.
when exactly, it's gonna be just like that. As soon as I'll make it, and then I just into existence.
I mean,
Go a bridge series on us.
Oh, speaking of Dragon Ball, I finally got around to playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and it
oh,
just
mm-hmm.
and I hate it, but it did make me realize something about Raditz, and that in any other series he would be a recurring character. Like that would be a major turning point. He's the main character's brother. He drops some like vital information on him, and then he just dies and never shows up again.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
That's Toriyama for you. Subverting expectations.
Yeah, he subverted the hell up. I'm sure he did, but then I just kind of imagine what it was like reading Dragon Ball up until that point where Dragon Ball Z started happening. You're like, oh, Goku's brother, he'll come back, and then they never reference him again.
I'm surprised if there's any information out there where there might have been like a group of fans that would have hated essentially retconning Goku's origin in a way. I wonder if there's any
Yeah,
group of fans out there like that where, at least at that time, where they're like, "Why they make Goku an alien? That's so stupid."
Oh
that's
my
the
god, you're
thing though.
right.
With that is, this was Dragon Ball. Even if Goku was revealed to be an alien earlier, it wouldn't be shocking on the grounds that this was the same series where Goku just put a rabbit on the moon for the sake of an old Japanese joke.
Ah, yes, I
Like,
remember
hey man, we
seeing
got
it.
aliens now.
I remember that episode. He
Like,
deserved it.
well, we got aliens now.
That rabbit deserved it. That freaking Usagi.
Yeah,
I mean,
wait,
oh, and also,
but
and as you were playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, I stopped playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yeah.
I've made it all the way to the beginning of the Android saga, and then I just stopped because it's a simple question that all people who play games need to ask. When they're on the controller, it's 11:35 p.m. You're playing, and then you think to yourself, "Am I having fun?"
you stop midway doing combat. I was having an existential crisis.
And I had that
That's not.
moment. So after I finished my 10,000th Super Kamehameha with Kaioken Super Saiyan, I was like, all right,
No more.
no more.
Dude, I told you. I told you when you told me that you were enjoying the game. I was so surprised.
And
I genuinely thought that you were gonna hate that game.
I don't hate it, but yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
that big of
Is,
a fan to go through it,
is it one of
especially
those cases where like your love of Dragon Ball doesn't outweigh your love of non-repetitive gameplay?
yes.
I
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you
I
have
mean,
to be the Dragon Ball fan in the sense that you still accept GT and love it even though it's
uh,
GT.
I picked it up for like free, as in someone gave it to me, and I'm honestly only playing it because I just finished Yakuza 4 and I don't want to move on to Yakuza 5 already.
Yeah, those are big games. I'm lucky
But
enough that it's a rental from a subscription service, so I'm not paying
oh,
extra
you're
more to
using
play
GameFly?
Kakarot. Ja.
Oh wow.
hmm So just gonna be returning that and playing something else, something better. I would admit though, I would admit that for a game called Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, spoilers, you don't get to be Goku a lot.
What? Boy? No.
Because it follows a story.
Wait,
And
does it go all the way up to the Boo saga, or does it
yes,
just stop at it? Okay.
it goes away to Boo, and if you can recall, at least for the first two sagas, how involved was Goku in those stories?
Uh, okay, he was dead for most of the Saiyan saga until the end.
Yep.
He was dead for a lot of the. He was incapacitated for Frieza until the end. He bailed. He was incapacitated for most of Cell until the end, and then he left at the end. And he was in and out of the Boo saga.
So yeah, so for a game called Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, you might as well just rename it Dragon Ball Z Gohan Piccolo Vegeta. Those are like the main three characters you play. They can't even be Yamcha or Tien or Krillin. Those bastards. I want to be Krillin. I want my Destructo Disc, but no.
Shoot, I want to be a Raleigh. It's my main in the old Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Oh,
She
dude.
was my
If Riley's gonna be in the game, she has to be assist because that's too much power, man. That's too
I
much
get it.
power.
Raleigh's been my consist like back when what was it, J Stars was a thing. I made her and two other gag characters, and my friends would get mad at me because I always picked gag characters and would mess them up while they pick guys like Ichigo and Goku.
That begs the question then, and I want you to put this on Jack. Who would win, Arale or Saitama?
Ooh.
Two gag characters,
Well,
one ring.
RLA, because she is the epitome of gag character. Saitama kinda is, but at the same time, not really. I don't
I'm
know.
gonna go with her for the same reason, the exact same.
Fair arguments. Fair arguments. Now here's the question. You know what else that will
Mhm.
make her give her the advantage? Would Saitama touch poop?
No,
Therefore,
he would.
Arale wins by default. Her poop attack is the strongest. Please tell me that's a move in any of the J Star games.
Yeah, it is. She picks it. She can throw it.
She can throw it.
I just imagine her throwing poop at like
As a
all
matter
the
of fact,
shonen characters.
I think it was like a super attack in Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
That's awesome. I had an opportunity to get that game for the Wii, and I stubbornly didn't get it.
Uh, yeah, the PS2 was the main one.
Oh,
That was the main like. But I'm just upset that she never shows up in like Dragon Ball Z games anymore.
I mean, mm,
I get why. I get why. But I like playing as her just to make my friends mad because they pick guys like Broly, Goku.
that's true. That's true. It would be like if you play a Street Fighter game that doesn't have Dan. Street Fighter 5.
Oh my god, I still want Dan.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be
Jack,
surprised
if
if
he had
they
the
don't.
opportunity, he would main Dan and only Dan, so he can be the best Dan that ever was.
No. First,
Surprised they haven't like made Dan DLC.
no. What I want to do is, I'll still be a Rashid main, but make me mad. Then I
It's
go
your
with
song
Dan.
character.
Make
No, that is my salt character. In Street Fighter 4, he was my salt character. I would, since his Shoryukens are like, his light Shoryuken is so quick, I would do that and then just taunt with where he just like shakes his ass at people. That was my whole
Yeah,
thing.
that really is your salt character.
mm-hmm.
Dude, that's salt for everybody.
Mhm.
If I was able to, I always tell Hack this because it's like the one thing that I wished I could have been able to like record. I was playing Dan against a Guile. this guy was obviously better than me. Like obviously, and he was going easy on me. Somehow during the one of the matches, he was about to win. We were both low health, and I somehow ended up doing my ultra within his Sonic Hurricane. Like in the middle of his Sonic Hurricane, did my ultra. I just said, "Screw your attack. I'm gonna do mine." And
Wait,
he
so yours
died.
canceled his out?
Well, the thing is, it's supposed to hurt me, but it just did it. Like somehow the hitbox didn't
Yeah.
register. So I won that round, and he just proceeded to kick my ass after that. Because, yeah, who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? And during our brief time when we waited against each other in Street Fighter 4, there was also a moment where he did pick Dan. He did beat me and proceed to uh, shake his
Keep
patootie
conking
at
on you.
me. Yeah. And funny enough, now he's making me
Like a running
remember.
down.
Makes me remember, Jack. A very small thing in which it was senior year in our computer class, or the class
Mhm.
of that class when we're together. And I forgot. I think someone else, they brought their Xbox 360,
Mhm.
and they had, I think, was it Super Street Fighter 4 or Vanilla Street Fighter 4?
Don't remember.
I think it was, yeah. No, even though Dan's wasn't Super yet, so it was Super Street Fighter 4, that version of the game. And both of us were seeing it and like, yeah, let's just play, let's go for a random, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so we're like, it's not ours, so we ask him like, yeah, you can play, or put it in, we're playing it, and then and then of course Jack and I, we're going we're going at each other back and forth, and we're getting, we're getting
Mm.
pumped, we're getting serious, we're playing, all our knowledge
The
put in the
hype is
game.
real.
I put all my knowledge I got on the 3DS version into this version,
Me too.
and we were having fun until we realized, until I think Jack said like, hey, you wanna kind of stop so this could play? Yeah, 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 here you go, guys.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I have to be the one that kind of like reminds people sometimes.
yeah, because our above average skill is not fun for anyone who's not up, at least up to our level.
I mean, I wouldn't even say above average.
But
I would just say average.
slightly above average.
But my
Average
favorite
compared
thing
to
was,
like the regular person,
yeah, I guess so. But
like
like,
somebody who just kind of picked it up on a whim.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's true.
And yeah,
But
and then we ended up playing one of the 360 Dragon Ball games. I don't know if it was Raging Blast 2 or something like that. I don't remember
no,
that
my
one.
my favorite moment was the it was cheap. I will admit this for sure because I just wanted to make you mad. You were playing Makoto and I was playing Kabuki, and I got a perfect. Remember that?
No, I don't remember it, but I believe you. I believe you.
It was the constant neck snaps,
Oh, that's right.
and you were trying to chase after me just to hit me once to at least tell me how you didn't get a perfect.
Oh, that's right. I got
But
so desperate. I didn't want to win. I just want just one
You need to
hit.
stop that perfect from happening.
Yeah, that's all I wanted. And of course, I pick a character great on the ground, and he picks a character great in the air. So I was at a disadvantage either way. Oh man. Uh, actually, Ghetto, did you play a lot of Street Fighter 4? If I rec-
I played it on and off, but I dedicated all my time to Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
I see. And in that on and off time with Street Fighter 4, was there a character you gravitate towards at all?
Uh, Probably Jury.
oh,
Jury.
she's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's pretty
Probably.
good in there.
yeah. She, I could have I could have used her a lot, but the 3DS doesn't give you a lot of options in terms of
Yeah,
controls. I don't know.
that's how I first played Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, it's a weird. It works when you can't have any alternatives. It's the best version. Funny
Yeah,
enough, though, I got some decent online matches in that version.
me too.
So that was kind of odd. I
Um,
remember I had a back and forth with this Chun Li player, and I was Chun Li. So it was a clone fight.
a mirror match.
Yeah, mirror match. Sorry, mirror match. And we were just going at it. I think we ended up spending 50 minutes just fighting against each other.
Mm, I don't think I don't really have any memorable like fights playing that game. 'Cause it was just like because I played Street Fighter 4 on DS like super casually.
And if I remember, do you say it was
Like
Ultimate Marvel 3 or Vanilla Marvel 3?
it was Vanilla Marvel 3. I was super stubborn about like buying Ultimate, and then I was like, all right, fine, top of great.
And who was your team?
Let's see, X-23, Captain
Good,
America.
good.
Uh, I sometimes use Dante, but sometimes I get bored and switch out Chris.
Okay, I'm about to say if you freaking said Virgil, I'm like,
No,
you're one of those players, aren't you?
I try to avoid using Virgil just because of that.
You sure you don't
Like,
want a
no, that's
team
too
of?
easy.
You sure you don't want a team of Virgil, Dante, and Phoenix? No, no, no.
No,
Virgil,
not like
Dante,
that.
Wesker.
I'm not like that. That's not even my fault team.
uh, I never got to play it in that game in any serious capacity, and because I only played it when it finally was ported to PS4. So kind of a bit late. I'm a bit late, and so I just kind of so I play it super casually. So if so you were to go against me, my team would be Akuma. Who was the Doctor Strange and Felicia.
Oh, that's a good team.
Yeah, I actually like how I actually like Doctor Strange's movesets. I thought it was actually pretty creative. Not as creative as Phoenix's, but creative nonetheless.
I do like put Phoenix on my Salt team though, as in she is the entire Salt team. I'll just pick two other like characters. Like okay, Phoenix.
Oh, wait, hold on, no, wrong Phoenix. I meant Phoenix Wright.
Take that.
I remember it's put a whole practice mode just to learn how the heck to do his big old finishing move. That took me a
Oh
while.
yeah,
That took me a while to figure that out. I still that's probably the most creative fighting game character ever. You're aware of the how Phoenix Wright plays in that game, Jack?
I just know that one of his attacks is him sneezing.
You're not wrong. Basically, the core part of his gameplay is that while you're fighting, you are getting clues,
Oh,
and with the clues and having a full either level 3 or full bar, you can unleash your ultimate attack in which you put the opponent on trial.
yeah, I seen combo because like after I heard that Phoenix Wright was in a Marvel vs. Capcom game, I just wanted to see how his combos looked like. They're confusing, but at the same time, I'm just like, how is this man getting clues in the middle of fighting Magneto, Spider-Man, things like all this craziness happening around him. He's just like a pen.
Well,
and
who
the thing
knows? Either way, that makes him officially a better lawyer than Daredevil.
the thing about like playing Phoenix is, oh, playing against the Phoenix, you have to rush them down. Do not let them get anything.
Mm-hmm. That is true, and it gets annoying when they kept sending the dog or Maya after you. It's like stop it, stop it.
But I need my clues.
You need your clues so you can put Dormammu on trial.
Dormammu, I'm putting you to trial.
Take that.
Have Phoenix Wright instead of Doctor Strange. The movie.
uh, I somewhat related. Somewhat related. I recall a She-Hulk comic where I think she had the opportunity to essentially be a cosmic supreme judge.
I know what you're talking about. That's from Dan Slott's She-Hulk,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they used actual Marvel comics as courtroom evidence.
Oh, that's right. And I think I remember Was it one of the did she have some like funny interaction with what was that? What's his name? The duck. Did she have an interaction with Howard the Duck?
Yeah, where Howard the Duck was trying to sue George Lucas because he didn't make a sequel.
Oh man. Also,
Like
wait, Dan
that's the
Slott
thing.
wrote those She-Hulk books?
Yes. Yeah, that's what shocked me about his Spider-Man run. I really liked his She-Hulk. He also does a really good Spider-Man and Human Torch mini comic. And then you read a Spider-Man and it's just awful. Well, no. I thought his Spider-Man was okay up until the later years.
Was that
Like,
after or before Spider Island?
this, you know what? I think I was still on board for Spider Island, but it was around, when can I say I was just like, okay. I was just completely emotionally detached from everything happening in the book. I want to say it was a little bit before Clone Conspiracy, but I think Clone
Oh, good
Conspiracy was the
lord.
main thing.
Oh, good.
I was just like,
Clones.
where I just completely detached myself from anything happening, but I was still reading it because it was Spider Man.
Well, now when with and because of that, I can't read a current Fantastic Four comic because Dan Slott.
The thing
It,
is, I was reading that until I kept reading and realized I was getting detached from everything again, and I was like, okay, time to stop. And
and
then
and it's even worse when he's writing Iron Man.
I avoided Iron Man. What's wrong with this Iron Man?
Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh, so here's the thesis. No, to make it short, and so you can understand it, Jack. So, all right. So imagine you got your Iron Man comic, and in the previous storyline, I mentioned to you, Jack, he rebooted himself, right?
Yes.
So the follow-up story will be him dealing with the fact that he is not the real Tony Stark
Mhm.
Again?
again, and that's a plot thread amongst many plot threads in which you have to follow all these other characters that that dedicate at least one or two pages to into the story that have little to no relation to the main plot, such as the Korean scientist guy and Tony Stark's real mom having a dating relationship.
I forgot about that.
Let's see. Jocasta and Machine Man having troubles in their relationship,
He
and
brought
the
Machine
whole
Man into this?
yeah, he put Machine Man into it, and they have a whole like, you know, it's uh, robots need rights and whatnot, or androids need rights, something like that. That's their whole storyline. And then
It's a,
and then add to the fact that every time it comes to like an either any action moment or any moment that's serious, you got the typical Marvel thing like in the movies where someone's got to cut everything with a snarky joke. That's not Tony.
you know, some of these ideas sound really interesting.
Yeah, and they're executed
Like,
poorly, especially in
yeah,
this one specific little two-parter, three-parter, where I kid you not, it's where Tony Stark essentially builds the nerve gear,
Ooh.
and in this virtual world, he did like a huge beta test, and all these people were pretending to be these other superheroes. And you think it would be interesting where then Tony Stark has to fight a villain within this virtual game world and whatnot. But when you read it, you realize that the writer, Dan Slott, he has no idea how technology works. And
Oh.
so you end up hearing all this techno babble that makes the CW blush.
Oh no.
Yeah,
they gotta reboot the fallopian tube.
that's a
Need to
good
reboot the
one.
fallopian.
Oh man, and in that part, there was also uh, moments where all the interesting stuff could be interesting if if he just had another writer who knew how this type of tech works, it doesn't come off like old man just trying to be like, "Hey guys, I'm on I know the internet." Yeah.
How do
Luckily,
you do, fellow internet surfers?
exactly. That's how the comic came off as, and which is not appropriate if you're gonna make an Iron Man comic. I'm just saying. So I ended up just like stop buying his books. Only thing I could really praise is that for the first few like 5 or 7 issues, they got a really good covers.
Wait, were these the ones done by Alex Ross?
No, no, it's not Alex Ross. It's some guy with an Italian name. But they were really good covers, at least in my eyes.
It seems like the past like 7 or 8 years have not been good for Iron Man. He went from Bendis to Slot.
Ugh. Yep, yep. And by the way, did you know in the last run of Iron Man with Bendis, and I still have the issue even digitally, issue 600, where where Riri meets Leonardo da Vinci, and there was supposed to do a thing with the shield of the past, and that subplot is never brought up ever again.
Was it because Bendis left?
Yeah, because Bendis left, and so they pretty much, oh yeah, all that shield of the past by Leonardo da Vinci and the Illuminati, yeah, just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, it wasn't
That
that.
seemed to be a, that seems like a common thing for like the books Bendis was working on. The only book I know he actually finished was Spider-Man 2, and that was pretty much a book into a plot thread he left in the first Spider-Man,
And
where like they had the 616 Miles Morales.
Daredevil,
Oh yeah, I didn't read his there.
yeah, and it's Jessica Jones. Pretty much any of the street character stuff he did in the early 2000s.
I genuinely wonder why they keep putting him on big characters. Even if
That's why I
like,
still
he
haven't got
was
a new Superman comic.
Oh man, I just dropped mine.
And speaking of dropping balls, I'm not talking about Konami for a second. So at first I was gonna ignore this because I thought it was just a rumor, but
Mm,
maybe you guys know this. But you guys are hearing what's going on between Sony and Konami.
what that Sony's trying to buy Metal Gear and Silent Hill.
Ja, spoilers, man. You say with much enthusiasm. God, I'm kidding. So yeah, so reports saying that while not officially announced, there has been talks of Sony trying to the acquire the Silent Hill, Castlevania, and Metal Gear franchises from Konami.
Ooh.
Oh, that'll just leave him with Yu-Gi-Oh and Bomberman.
You mean just Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, just Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay, yeah, just Yu-Gi-Oh. That'll leave him with just Yu-Gi-Oh.
They already crapped the bed with Contra. Did you buy Contra Rogue Ops? What was that Contra game on the Switch?
Rogue Core.
There we go. Hey, nothing says modern gaming like twin stick shooters in 2019. Any case, so
Somebody showed that to me. I thought it was a joke.
yeah, no.
I was like, okay, where's the real Contra game?
Well, at least if it does end up, maybe we could see Metal Gear finally get or Metal Gear 3 get remastered properly instead of a pachinko machine.
Is that with or without the Fox engine?
Hmm.
Yeah, Konami's not gonna let it go. They don't want to lose one of their pachinko machines. Well, any of their pachinko machines.
So, but then again, remember, as much as Kojima made the Metal Gear games, recently he did do Death Stranding. So I will be kind of iffy if he gets to get his Silent Hills game. I'd be like, I don't
What if
know.
they get PT back? Remember that thing?
Yeah, yeah. I never got a chance to play it. It was too late by the time I got PS4.
I mean,
Rip.
same here actually. It was like a month, like right after I got PS4, that they just took it down.
People are actually still selling those consoles with it, and they're more they cost more money than the actual console itself.
That's the market value for you. So here my question. So let's say Sony buys these three franchises. What
Hmm.
would each of you want to see out of those three? Because I already know what I want the most, more than Silent Hill or Metal Gear. Is Castlevania for me. Anyone here had thoughts about Castlevania?
Mm.
Ugh. I've only ever played one, and that was Symphony of the Night, and that was on an emulator, but I liked it.
Yeah,
So I can't say I'm a huge Castlevania fan.
I
So
would kind of like to have more Castlevania stuff.
all right. So as the de facto biggest Castlevania fan on the podcast.
It's gonna flex on us, man.
Yeah.
Flex that Castlevania knowledge.
Yeah, you do have tons of Castlevania knowledge, like fun fact.
Is that
Alucard
like the?
is
Is that
Dracula
that weird specific
backwards.
thing you're into?
Shut up.
Like that one, like I'm not making fun of you for it. I mean, like everyone has that one specific thing they're super into and has in-depth knowledge of it. Is Castlevania your thing?
Unfortunately, no, it's not that deep. If anything, hold on, let me see some evidence here. If
This
there's,
is Minecraft.
yeah, right. I'm the
What about
farthest
you,
away
Jack?
from
What
that.
about you?
No, no. If anything, the only thing that I'm super in depth to, in which I know every significant detail behind it, would have to be would have to be Star Wars, pre Star Wars pre Disney.
Oh, okay. What about you, man? What about you?
I would say mine would be also space themed Halo.
Okay.
What about yours, Ghetto?
Probably Common Rider.
I wonder what gave it away. don't don't you mean the Beetleborgs? No. So
Bite you.
come at me, bro. I'm gonna rider kick you all the time. So
Yeah, well,
I'll look at my thoughts of Castlevania because I know at least you guys knows have more thoughts about Silent Hill and Metal Gear. So for us Castlevania side, I would like this. Um, don't do what God of War is doing.
uh, what rebooted into a different thing altogether?
Yes,
I mean,
I
didn't they do that already with those
yes,
games that were essentially God of War clones?
yes, and and if Castlevania ever comes back, I could see them essentially cloning the recent God of War. I want none of
Uh,
that.
And have a Belmont
maybe
just go
they'll.
around.
And if I was in control,
Maybe
if
they'll probably see how well Bloodstained did.
I wouldn't even go like Bloodstain either because I wanted to put more money into it, better, and I want to actually have it with 3D visuals. If anything, I think to make sure to please the fans, I think it will be awesome if they can either remake remake either the original game, actually no, the original trilogy, and make that as one big game of Castlevania,
Mhm.
or they could remake Symphony of the Night and have it
Yeah,
done.
That's
I
a
would say
thing.
Symphony of the Night.
First, I would want the first three games, but that's just me. But either one works, and have it where it gets as much polish and shine as like a Nintendo game with their games are like in that 2.5 perspective.
Mhm.
Give it that and as well, just a little M rating there. Just a little M rating.
See, I only imagine they'll do it like another Castlevania game and make it modeled after Bloodstained as a way to test like the waters if people want more Castle.
That's true.
Basically hold the franchise hostage.
Yep, and also just have it with really nice visuals. And to take stuff from many of the more modern Castlevania games, the 3DS Lords of Shadow game, I actually did not mind its combat since it was kinda
There
like
was a 3DS Lord of the Shadows game.
yeah. I played the entire thing, and it was actually like it was it was somewhat of a traditional Castlevania game where you're exploring places and getting new items and whatnot. It was like that.
Huh.
It did some weird story changes. Like, for example, Alucard is Trevor.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, in the canon of Lords of Shadow, um, Trevor Belmont becomes Alucard, and
Mhm.
Simon Belmont. Belmont has a thick Scottish accent.
I,
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was very weird. It's because it was like you can play as three characters. Technically, you're playing two, since one becomes the other. So I wouldn't mind having that type of combat where it kind of emulates the main games where you're doing like kind of these beat 'em up combos with the whip and your assault weapons. And I wouldn't mind doing that. I wouldn't mind it being like that. It's on. I wouldn't mind it being that way.
Okay,
English hard.
okay. I
Out.
just looked up the game. I remember it now.
Yeah. It's
I
instead
remember
of
some.
just a simple, the whip slash or just a simple sword slash, just something to make it more hyper and cool looking.
I'm
So
kind of curious. As a Castlevania fans, what are your thoughts on the show?
on the show, okay. So season one was promising, but it felt like it ended too early. Think due to the limited number of episodes. And I was just
Okay.
and overall though, I did kind of cringe, like, and I should have known this considering that one of the writers is Warren Ellis. I did kind of cringe at
Oh my.
the way the show likes to like, portray the Catholic Church, and I'm like, oh, how edgy of you.
Oh, he tipped. Oh, he
Hey
tipped his
guys,
fedora too hard.
this priest. Hey guys, did you know the church is corrupted?
Oh, he's just tipping his fedora.
I know. It's like,
Welcome.
yeah. Although I do kind of like it when that big demon was before it ate the villain, he told that Catholic priest that what was that line? Like, I think God effing hates you or something like that. And then he eats him.
Oh, like there is no God.
Something very edge lord, but I felt like okay, that felt appropriate. I do find it weird there was swearing in the show. I did find that
Well,
kind of
because
weird.
they
Swearing?
go overboard with it.
Yeah,
Like they feel like they're trying to compensate. Well, it's an adult show. Let's throw in more swearing.
yeah.
Well,
I feel like they're trying to be like The Witcher in that aspect, but it doesn't flow right. It'll be more natural if people just like if you're gonna insult someone, be like, oh, you smell of swine and you smell of swine or something like that, instead of going, you's a bitch.
he's a bitch.
Your no no your dad's a bitch, your brother's a bitch, and your mom's a bastard. So that's when what's happened in the show. I was like, again that edgy was very cringy. And the fact and as
Now
they go into season two, a lot of things improved. I was disappointed that they went the route of Dracula instead of being like I just want him to be evil, like pure evil, instead of like oh no, don't you feel bad for him? No,
they pull a Steven Universe on.
yeah, like freaking no, he is the son of the dragon. Make him live up to his title. Make him feel like when you beat him, you're like, yes, we did it. We vanquished the ultimate evil. Instead of him being like, my
Well,
wife.
yeah. For me, I just kind of acknowledge how he is, but at the same time, I'm like, bitch, you crazy.
And along with the fact that every season two, that the episodes when Alucard, Trevor, and Cyphus were in the library, that felt like it took forever.
It did.
I was like, come on, let's just get out of here. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but if you guys seen it, did you feel like the sound design was kind of not, kind of off? Like the sound
And,
mixing?
and two?
in
In season two?
both seasons. Like in terms of the background music, like I could it always felt like I could barely hear it.
Oh, then yeah, because I completely forgot that there was background music. To be honest.
Yeah, and
To be
also
honest, I always watched the show when I was tired, so if there was background music, I did not notice it.
and the one thing to please my little fanboy heart, the one like um what's that term?
Fan service?
The one fans they that all had to do with maybe like I love you, I love you long time was simply using the game music, and they did for one scene, and I could barely hear it. And it was bloody tears too. I love bloody tears. I was like, hey, look, it's bloody tears. How come this music is not when they're fighting Dracula?
That's because they got to promote their own music, their OCs.
No, they couldn't afford it. That's why. That's probably
Ooh,
why. And so with
Then
season,
everyone loved
and I
it.
still haven't watched season three. All I know about season three is that Alucard likes it in the butt. But
what?
yeah, watch
That's
season
all
three.
I've heard about that.
What?
Yeah,
I'm watching it. I'm in the second episode. What?
you'll figure
Oh,
it
you
out.
haven't gotten to that part yet, because that is that part. That's all I've seen of it.
In any case, sorry, season three. I thought they were gonna do like a big old time skip and be like, okay, we're done with Trevor. Come on, let's get to my boy Simon. But no, we're still following these characters. Like, okay, it's like we're done with that story. It's like I want just go to then tell the original story with Simon when you got a freaking barbarian looking vampire hunter. It'll be metal as heck. Be super awesome. But
I
no, it's
was
just like
expecting them to redesign it.
but no, they just continue off, and I just have no interest in watching season three. So overall, um, I appreciate it, but it could have been so much. It could have been so much more, given that it had genuine talent behind it. Oh, and also I really like the Sypha's voice. She has a very lovely voice.
She does.
This,
See, this makes me fear, like, because this the dude who made Castlevania the show is trying to make it cry. For now,
oh, that will make. mm, I don't know. Even Japan did that. They couldn't do it right.
like, yeah, I expect them to somehow blend everything nobody liked about the reboot into this, where he tries to punch up the dialogue by making it edgy and more about.
Oh, and also that scene I completely forgot where they pretty much just diss on the old fans. You know when that wig came on.
Not in a million years.
I was like, I see Ninja Theory. So that's how you feel. Well, at least they're on everyone's at least they're on everyone's good list after they made that game about depression.
Yeah.
What was it? Hellblade? That was that it?
Yeah.
That game's about depression. I thought it was just about Vikings. Or
Well,
something.
it's the subtext. Why am I doing Trump? Hold on. It's
It's subtext.
not Trump. I'm trying to do a hipster voice. It's the
This one?
it's the subtext of the game in which if you don't see it clearly, you didn't play the game. I'm sorry, you did not play the game if you did not see that depression subtext.
You know, your hipster voice is just your voice. You know that, right?
Shut up. I can only do a few voices, and hipsters there's no voice for them.
That's your voice in general.
Wait.
I'm saying that you're a hipster.
Is this the revelation where you realize you're a hipster?
No. I'm an
Are we gonna
hipster.
witness that on stream?
No. I'm a hipster in terms of anime. Everything else, I'm pretty about.
No, you're a hipster.
I think
Yeah,
admit my
that's
music taste is
What a hipster genuinely. First of all, what a hipster genuinely love metal music.
Yeah, actually, some do.
They're metal hipsters. I've met three.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. What a hipster heavy metal music that like everyone knows.
Okay, no.
Yeah,
Well, I know.
like Iron Maiden,
If
Judas
they,
Priest, Black Sabbath.
if they were trying to be
Eh,
ironic, sure.
yeah.
Well, I don't like them ironically. I like them as they are
Okay,
because
then
they're
fine.
awesome.
All right,
S-
then you're safe. You're safe.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he's trying too hard now.
Oh,
To
oh. I'm not even gonna start with you. You're just you're doing the changing definitions tactic. You'd be
no.
a, be a horrible
I gotta
lawyer.
believe in you.
It's like it's like here will be Jack representing this person being accused of murder. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what is murder really?
He did a little
so
murdering. He didn't do a
so
lot of it.
I have my. Do you see here? This is Cube, and he's. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Chewbacca defense.
Oh God! If you see here, if we put murder through feminist theory, you come to realize that only men can murder people, and my client is a woman, therefore she cannot murder.
Uh, how much murder is murder?
How much? How much damage counts as murder?
Is there a way we can have hit points on our cases? How much hit points did the accused receive? What's the mana count? Uh,
How much experience did he get for this murder?
what's the current durability of the murder weapon?
It's less than two.
And see, you need to have more than -3 durability in order to kill this man. Never mind the fact that the accused knows magic spells. How is that not some sort of okay? Dang it! I can see in my head. Just imagine a JRPG trial or some sorts.
Yeah, I know. It's like it sounds like as if it was like Phoenix Wright.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It sounds like as if there was some Japanese game out there.
Yeah,
But
but it goes it goes more even more ludicrous than Phoenix Wright. So before we got distracted, going back to the thing with Sony and Konami. So moving up past Castlevania, Silent Hill. Now, of course, who knows what we had gotten if Silent Hills would have been would have been a reality. So then my question is, will be this then for all of y'all.
Mm,
Would you rather have Silent Hill? Which kind of action? Which modern horror game design would you want to see Silent Hill either adapt to or improve upon in some way? Because there's no way it's gonna be trying to be original its own way. It's gonna have to mimic something, whether it's a game like Outlast or
I
Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7.
mean, I kind of like the old Silent Hill games where you're kind of running around the whole the town itself, and you had like the radio mechanic in there.
Mm.
But I'd say the remastered Resident Evil 3, 3 2. Just the atmosphere. I wouldn't really say too much of the combat. I would just say
Yeah,
I
because
just want
Silent Hill
that
never had the strongest.
I just want that scare, like that tension. That's all I want from this.
That's true. That's true. Uh, and the one time they had a chance to remake those games and they butchered it.
What are you
Like,
talking about? The one on Wii? What was it?
No, the Silent
Shattered
Hill 2
Memories?
and 3 remake. They have the HD remake.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they butchered so much about those games that the only way to play the classic is if you got besides emulators is if you got the original hardware and software.
Oh, I think you can still play the originals on PS3 unless they took those PS1 classics now.
And they're
Oh,
probably
I'm not
there, but then
sure.
you have to get a PS3.
I guess the best way I can describe it then, since I want something more with at would be like Amnesia: The Dark Descent. How literally the thing that scares you the most is yourself. Like psychological horror, pretty much. Which that's what Silent Hill should be all about, anyways.
That's true. That is true. Although I think no matter what type of gameplay it will have, in order for Silent Hill to for me to be successful that it is, it honestly needs to have the original Team Silent behind it. You know,
Wasn't Silent Hills gonna have Junji Ito working on the monster designs or something?
I don't know, probably, but either way, it's not the original team. It's not if it's not the original team, there's a higher chance of just kind of being a mediocre horror game, like the Silent Hill games of the seventh generation, with Downpour, Homecoming, Origins, where some cases they're bad or they're just most likely just kind of middle of the road.
Okay, I just looked it up and yeah, Junji Ito.
He was gonna be on Silent Hills.
Now I'm more upset. Forgot about that detail. I love losing.
Oh God, would you be able to put a shark in there somehow?
You know what? Sure, there would have been a water level.
The shark will have spider legs, and inside the shark is a smiling man.
It's
Now
like
I'm
inside the
upset this
mouth of
didn't
the shark.
happen. I was pretty on Silent Hill's not happening, but now I'm upset when I remember Junji Ito was involved.
There was a wall here. It's gone now. That's my favorite Silent Hill quote of all time.
It was you.
I,
It was all along. It was you. Referring to the dog.
Oh, that bring back the dog endings. That's what they also should do too.
Yep. Bring back the dog ending.
did they phase those out? Because I've never played any of the Silent Hill games.
They
Three,
phase
I think.
those out after four.
Uh, uh,
I think it was in Shattered Memories, but
all right.
besides for that, no, they phase the dog ending out because after the fourth one, the original team, I think they left Konami, and so Konami ended up giving it to outside studios to work on the Silent Hill games.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So, all right, and but certainly not least, Metal Gear.
I
So,
no, I
Metal
do
Gear
not want
6,
another Metal Gear. I do not want another Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Survive 2, Revengeance again.
You know what? Sure. But I only say sure to that because you had a revengeance to it. No other reason.
Or no, wait, I'm surprised they haven't done this. They just port Revengeance into the current consoles. It will be Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Well, now you're taking a page from Kingdom Hearts.
Freaking, that's all. That's almost all anime, man. That's all Japan. They love them semicolons.
Oh my god, yes. You don't know the half of it.
I only say Kingdom Hearts because there's like two games with the re in there.
Yeah. But no, would you? Okay, let's say it happens. Would you play a Metal Gear 6, as in a canonical continuation of the story?
Yes, but I hate.
Sure.
Now, when would you like it to be set?
No more prequels.
You sure? You sure you don't want to know
Yeah.
what happened? What the real big boss was doing in the 1980s?
No. Like I've never been a fan of prequels in general for stories because they just introduce more problems and issues.
You don't like the fact that Revolver Ocelot is the spawn of the boss, and that's like never a relevant detail?
What?
The only prequel of to these games I liked was three, and that was because they still had enough wiggle room,
There
you
was
know.
enough
And
time
then
before Metal Gear and Metal Gear Solid 3 to be like,
yeah,
yeah, so this happened.
yeah, I could buy three like taking place. It's when they made five, I was like, okay, no,
Ever heard that that potential story plot where Quiet was supposed to be Chico?
what?
Huh, okay, I guess
No,
that's good. That's just me.
I never heard of that. No.
So I forget I forget if either this was a drop story or would have been a potential one that the fans kind of picked out as evidence.
Headcanon.
Essentially, since that in Metal Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, Microsoft 5 Ground Zeroes, you find Chico there, and I think was he did he get taken by the SOF unit if I remember, or do you successfully rescue him?
I don't remember much about five, man.
I didn't even
I was I was on autopilot.
Well,
same.
during that time, the time during the coma for
Mhm.
Venom Snake, Chico would have gotten a sex change, and he would have become Quiet.
Oh my god.
Oh my. Oh,
And
You know what?
it's a
That's
trap.
so weird. I just accepted it.
It's a
and
trap.
and like, hold on,
It
let me
was
see.
such an out of left field plot line.
Like, see, Chico, Quiet, Metal Gear. Let me see if I can find the. So, by the way, it's not a for real thing. It's like it's a potential
Just a headcanon.
a theory, potential fan theory of that Chico could have been turned into Quiet, which would have made that game really weird because Chico was like a kid in Ground Zeroes, like even younger than Paz.
Well, it seems like everything always happens with underageness in that game.
Well, you know, Big Boss, he likes them young.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep. Why? Yep. Ghetto, tell me, does does the love bloom in a Gundam?
I'm gonna tell you right now, yes. Yes, it does. Especially if you watch IBO, it really does.
Then tell me this, please tell me, because I feel like this should be in one this a moment like this. I'll be very weak. Please tell
Hmm?
me if there's ever a moment where two characters in any of the numerous Gundam shows proposed and got married during a fight.
No.
Okay,
What?
so there wasn't a
Hang on a
like,
minute.
so there wasn't a Johnny. That there wasn't a Johnny Marrow moment from Metal Gear 4.
Oh, okay, no. I had to really think about that because there's probably some novel where that has happened.
Do you remember that, Jack? The how Metal Gear 4 when Johnny married Marrow in the middle of a gunfight?
I don't even remember much of 4.
It's okay. Neither did Kojima.
Details and plot, they don't matter.
They don't matter. They don't matter. Oh man,
That's the
I
thing
could
about like
go ahead and get him.
that's the thing about like a lot of Japanese developers for games. They seem to write these plots as they go along.
And who do you think is
Like
a bigger culprit of it? Kojima
Tetsuya
or
Nomura,
I was gonna say Toriyama.
Tetsuya Nomura. No,
Tets
Tetsuya Nomura. If, having played the Kingdom Hearts games, Tetsuya Nomura.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you make something a crossover game so confusing?
Like those, if I remember correctly, I think there is an interview where he outright says, "Yeah, we write the cool scenes first and write everything else second."
Whoa, okay. At
I
least he
feel like
admits
that
it.
exists.
At least he admits
Whereas
it.
like I'm willing to give like Toriyama some slack because he had editors and they were constantly telling him what to do, and Dragon Ball came out weekly. So I'm willing to give like shonen manga writers slack on that. However, not like video game developers.
The guy had what, 18 years? When did the first Kingdom Hearts come out? Hold on.
2001, 19
He had
years.
19, no, 18 years to.
Let me see.
Who do you think's more
But
Who do you think's more disappointed in their series? Halo fans or Kingdom Hearts fans?
uh,
Uh, hmm, hmm.
Because,
I never.
because is there any moment? Is there any? I'm gonna finish this fight moment for Kingdom Hearts. Anything like that?
What?
In terms that
The
like a sequel actually paid off.
mm, I want to say yeah. Okay, kind of. I'm gonna say kind of on the ground. There are plot points that get resolved in Kingdom Hearts 3 that they bring up in those side games, but for every plot point that gets resolved, six more pop up.
Oh man.
I
The
Halo
this
to end.
does Sora become the Kingdom Hearts?
You know, I,
Kind
I
of.
think I, I think Kingdom Hearts takes the
Really?
cake on disappointment. I mean, at least I was disappointed on how Halo 4 and 5 are.
Yeah,
I
that.
mean, you could tell by how I showed you Halo 5's amazing Spartan fight of Locke versus Chief.
Oh yeah, and at the very least, you didn't have to play Halo Wars 1 and 2 or ODST to understand 5 or 4.
Well, Halo Wars were Halo's Wars 1 and 2. I think were prequel,
Was
and
The thing is,
I think Halo ODST is in between Halo 2 and 3. So
key point is though, they're supplementary. They're supplementary to the story, which is a benefit that Kingdom Hearts does not have.
yeah.
thing, the thing is, every time people say Kingdom Hearts is convoluted, I always try and bring up the Dragon Guard Gear franchise.
Oh good lord,
because,
don't remind me.
because you have to watch stage plays, read a novel, listen to a soundtrack, I think.
You know,
One
there's a
one
time.
game's ending is a spin-off that leads to a completely different series, and that ending is may or may not be canonical to the regular series.
Do you know there's a timeline in which Drakengard goes into real life novels?
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
that's what, that's
I
why I say no
remember
matter how confusing Kingdom Hearts is, it's not Dragon Guard slash Nier.
that's true.
I did remember when the newest Kingdom Hearts came out. People were trying to get others ready to play this game to like introduce them to the game, and I think it was like I think it was like a 10-minute video of this guy explaining how Sora, I think the guy's name is the main character. I don't know.
Yes, Sora.
Yeah, so
Like several pieces of him were like everywhere after a certain event, and then there is an event that happened in this time and this time. You need to watch the movies, and throughout the whole time, I was trying to understand it. I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times, and I still couldn't understand it. It was amazing how scattered the story is.
we don't
Like I don't know,
like it.
it just
Being a
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts fan is like being it's like it's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
I know this we're gonna make this. I'm just along for the ride.
I just picture most Kingdom Hearts fans like that one meme of the guy just with a bunch of papers with little yarns going from one thing to another. It's like so you see,
Oh, with the
You-
it's always sunny meme.
yeah.
The Charlie.
You're not wrong.
Oh, I gotta watch that show. I remember when I was
What did
younger.
you?
No, it's always funny in Philadelphia. It's not funny. It's always sunny in Philadelphia.
I mean, what did you not like watch it?
I attempted to watch it many years ago, one random night while I was in Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
and at the time I couldn't understand it. And and the show makes a very strong impression when title of the first episode is "The Gang Goes Racist."
Oh,
I was not
I
prepared
remember
for what I
my
was gonna
first
watch.
episode. Like, I know the first episode. I watched it with my mom, and they held a lawyer hostage. And all my mom remembers about the show is that they held him hostage, and he had to pee, and they were like, "Okay, who's gonna touch his dick to help him go pee?" I was watching this with my mom, and that's all she remembers about this show. So whenever I bring it up to her, that's like she's like, "Oh, is that the show with they got to touch the man's penis?" That's like, yes, mom.
That's a good memory to have. Oh
Like
man.
she'll see that's the show where they got to touch the man's penis, right? Correct.
Yes, mom, that show. Does she at least find it funny?
Uh, I don't think she found it funny. She just thought the whole show was weird.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Uh, now I just can't get out of my head with Danny DeVito with the Magnum dong. Oops, I dropped my
Oops, I
Magnum
dropped my Magnum condom.
condom from my Magnum dong. Slapped it on the table. That's all I can hear in my head right now. Oh my god. Oh, what? How far we been on air? Hour
Two
55.
hours.
Almost about to get 2 hours. Well then, uh, Ghetto, are you gonna be needing to clock out anytime soon?
No, I'm good.
All right, I think we can go for another 30 minutes or so before it gets too late for either of us. But let's be honest, even after we get off, we're not gonna go to direct to sleep.
Yeah, I'm
No.
gonna be playing more games.
Is
I am waiting for Doom Eternal to come in.
that coming out tomorrow?
It is. Yes, it is.
Uh, I
If I'm
wish
correct, it is.
I wish I could join you in that crusade, brother.
I already have a friend that's gonna join me.
Oh,
Don't worry about that.
days,
We're gonna rip and tear ass.
daysful, daysful. What about you,
They
Ghetto?
use Volt.
They use Volt. They use.
Day that's full. Day that's full.
How about you, Ghetto?
Ooh, I was
Are you gonna be slaying some cyber demons and the cyber elves?
I may.
okay, Alex Jones.
What was that, Ghetto? I didn't hear you.
I said I might pick it up. I'm not sure.
Hey,
I got
it's a holy game, man. I'm sure it will impress your mom. I'm sure.
I got the $90 one. I couldn't
You
help
know, it
myself.
might
and
just
got
start
the
making me show my mom stuff just to see how she reacts to it.
Yeah, make a whole make a whole YouTube account for it. Mom reacts to JoJo Part 5. Yeah, mom, watch
This is my
this.
mom.
Wait, mom, watch this. Ooh, what's he doing with that fish hook?
Oh,
Actually, my mom did like kind of react to Fist of the North Star once.
Oh boy.
Like I had it on like the TV. I was watching it on some streaming service, and it was just a scene where Ken and someone else were just growling at each other, like, ugh. And it went on for like 5 minutes. My mom was like, "What's that in there? What are they doing? Why they sound like that?"
And is that the is that the movie or the show?
It was the show.
Oh, okay. I remember
This
one
was like late into the show.
oh, so we're talking. So is this when Bat and Lynn are all grown up?
I want to say it was that. It was
Ah,
either like that or a little before that.
I see.
I think. I think it was actually the Raul fight.
I remember one night I invited some friends over, and I'm like, we're gonna watch something awesome. They're like, okay, we're gonna watch. I was like, you'll see. And I put on the Fist of the North Star movie, and as well, I put it in front of the big TV for everyone, and it was in the living room, so all my family could see what we're watching. Uh,
perfect.
I do recall that night, my dad, when he would walk by, he would walk just stand, look at the TV for a second, and just watch, just see what happened before he had to go do what he needed to do. And my mom, as she would pass by, she talks a lot, so she talk. She see what's happening. She goes, "Oh, ew! What are you guys watching? Oh, ew!"
Was this one of those scenes where someone's head exploded?
No, it was the fight with Mr. Hart.
Oh,
Oh, that was glorious. Big
You
old like
see,
burst of blood.
you see, my brother's like the same way like that, except his whole reaction is, "So, what is this character gonna do?" Or, "So, what is this happening? What's happening right now?" Like he keeps asking questions. Like it's obviously, like I already told you when we were watching JoJo Part 3. Um, he would ask questions like pretty much not even generic questions, literal spoilers. He would ask for literal spoilers, and I'm here like, just wait. You're going to find out. Wait. Or I would just go ahead and lie to him just so he can listen to the story.
This is what I refer to as the Pat maneuver.
Like I think
the Pat maneuver.
like how he asked me if he's gonna get married with if Joseph was gonna get married with um oh her name escapes me
Suzy
right
Q.
now. No,
No.
Lisa,
Oh,
Lisa.
Lisa.
oh.
And I'm like, and I'm
Oh,
like,
I'm sure that's a dojin
yes.
somewhere.
it is.
All I said was yes.
You know what? You know what? Be careful, man. Some Amis out there. You know that mother complex is strong.
Are you referring to specific MILF anime? Like what it,
Ara ara.
uh,
We need more
No,
ara
the
aras.
only one I know, and because I briefly just skimmed the manga to be like, is this what I think it is? And it was. It was in that one where it's another isekai, but the mom joins in,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
and I'm like,
I can't say I care for it, but I do like the
You
I
know
I
what?
think I think that's pretty much the point of the show.
Okay,
yeah,
first of
go
all,
ahead.
like, what's with
Watch
these
it.
shows getting extremely long titles now?
That's Japan, man.
It's
It's
so
always
you
been that
remember it.
way.
It's like think of it like how anime characters have brightly colored hair
Yeah,
because
but
the books inside at were black and white and that was supposed to draw you in. The long titles draw you in.
well, like, the titles might as well be paragraphs after a while.
You-
Isn't there a
That's
game?
what.
Sorry. Isn't there a game in Japan in which the title is a haiku?
Yes.
Let me see if I can. Hold on. I want to do some digging.
I know there's one where it's just I turned into a hot spring.
The heck?
What?
Yeah, that's the title. It's longer than that, but it's essentially I turned into a hot spring and girls bathe in me.
I think I've seen that. I think I've about it. I don't remember how I heard about it.
That's
Oh,
that should that sounds like something that should be in a do. Excuse me. That sounds like someone's stand.
I think it's like light novel.
I
Something.
thought it was a doujin.
Sounds like a dojo.
Which there was some like interview with an editor for a light novel where he said a lot of light novels are straight up written by editors because light novel authors cannot write to save their lives. So they turn stuff in super late.
Jeez, what is it? Marvel Comics over there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
speak.
no. To be fair, they don't have editors. That's different.
That's true. They don't have competent editors. You you can't turn. Are you gonna tell me that that new Warriors trash we saw not too long ago is a decent editor can be like, I can work with this. Just I can work. Just give me 2 cups of coffee, string, and your mother's number. I got this. Dang, I can't find the game. Oh well, I can't find the game with the long title. Oh well. Oh, that's right. So something
Oh,
that caught my attention, and this is good to go back to comics, and it's actually very interesting. So, uh, may as well both of you. Do you guys know who Jim Shooter is?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
All right. So for Jack and the uninitiated, Jim Shooter, he he used to be he used to be the editor in chief of Marvel Comics during the, I want to say, the late 70s and 80s.
Hmm.
Yeah, late 70s and 80s, and before that he also is a professional writer, artist, and publisher for his own projects. But he's mostly known for being an editor in chief for Marvel during that time. Now, around this time, this was when Marvel was getting like their big stories like year after year after year. This was during the time when you got the the big Infinity Gauntlet story. This is when the time when Daredevil was becoming the Daredevil we now know him today, and so much. Black symbiote Spider-Man, all that. It was during that era. And I found something during my timeline on Twitter in which he actually commented on current comics today, like kind of the his own
Oh
comments
dear.
about it. And here's what he has to says. So let me get ready. All right, he says this: the comic book industry is rife with writers who do not know writing basics, the sort of things Mark Twain cites in his 19 rules. Supervision is usually lax, and the supervisors are often clueless. So there is more freedom, quote unquote, in the sense that some can get away with more self indulgent, amateurish garbage, and some who don't have basic skills are allowed to fumble their way along blindly. It seems that the only skills the creative management at the two major companies require of writers are a knack for a glib pattern and events or gimmicks. In an earlier comment, Mark Miak hit the nail squarely. They seem to focus on stimuli, not story. What's the most shocking thing we can do? Break Batman's back, kill Thor, make Hal Jordan a villain, then throw it all away and start over with Ultimate or New 52, so there are new opportunities for shocking stimuli. That seems to be all the companies care about. And P.S. Too many artists these days can't tell a story even if given a good one, but they're given carte blanche as long as they've got some dazzle. Seems to me that's a good way to kill an industry. All of that said, there are some writers who actually do have a clue and do some brilliant work. Too many do work that is craftless, clueless, uninspired crap, or mediocre at best. I think he, I,
Man, he
th-
went in.
I think he nailed it.
He sure did.
Hmm. And I got me and when that kind of got me thinking some of the stuff I've been reading. Like I remember, and last time I spoke with you, Ghetto, you were surprised when I told you that we're still dealing with Dick Grayson having an identity crisis.
Oh yeah, is that cleared up yet?
Nope.
Still?
I just issue 90, which I just read today. I just read. He's finally he's finally found a way to, okay, through I kid you not, through a magic crystal that he stole from the Court of Owls.
Okay, sure,
He's
sure.
finally found a way to maybe restore his memories because he's stuck between either the false memories that the Court of Owls gave him and the real ones that he had during his time as the Flying Graysons and with Batman. And as well as scenes, and speaking of events, this comic is leading to a big storyline called Joker War.
Is that an event that's supposed to tie into the whole Three Jokers thing?
I know, no, no, no. Literally, they were so late on developing that story for Rebirth that the Three Jokers story is its own non-canonical thing.
Really? Dude,
Yeah,
they set it up like in two different books. They set it up in Dark Side War. They set it up in Rebirth.
yeah, but
They
with what was that his name? Not not Joe Quesada, the editor,
Jeff Johns.
not Jeff
Oh, Dan
Johns,
DiDio.
but with Dan DiDio delaying everything, and with Jeff Johns taking his sweet time writing Doomsday Clock, the whole Three Jokers thing, it's gonna come out, it's gonna be released, but it will not tie into anything that was built up in Rebirth.
Dog.
Yeah.
There's this, everything involving Wally West. What was the point?
Well, Wally West is being redeemed as we speak, so there's hope for him.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm reading. I read Flash Forward. I really liked it.
And
I mean, up until he became Doctor Manhattan, I liked it.
wait, hold on, what?
You haven't checked. You haven't checked. They've Wally West sat in his name, the new that new God chair,
Wait, he
the
said
Mobius chair.
Metron's chair. Is that what it's called?
There we go. Thank you. Yes, yes. He sat on that, and apparently it had residual energy from Doctor Manhattan touching it once, and he
Was
sat on it, and Wally apparently has Doctor Manhattan's file.
was this in Doomsday Clock?
No, no, no. I think it was in the last issue of Flash Forward,
Oh, freaking.
or in like, or in like a special bonus issue of it. But yeah,
So, so for context, Jack, Wally
Hmm.
West, the second Flash,
Yes.
he's now essentially got the abilities of a god.
Cool. Why
Well,
not?
yeah, why not? Exactly, as Mr. Jim Shooter
hey,
said, for the what stimuli? Oh God. And after reading that, it's hard. It's hard now. If I'm gonna continue reading comics, it's gonna be hard not to see that in just any of the stories. Because even if a Venom comic that I finished reading, while I did like it, I just came to realize that even though they had a big event with absolute carnage, they're still on that. Oh, but the real bad guy hasn't showed up yet, but he's coming. The big symbiote god, he's coming. He's coming.
oh yeah, I avoided absolute carnage.
I don't blame you. So did I. So did I. But
Like,
and now
that's the thing. I've avoided every single event comic in the past few years.
some of them I missed out, but most of them, yeah, I avoided. I avoided War of the Realms. I avoided Absolute Carnage. I avoided. I think were those two last year?
Uh, yeah, they were. They were.
Yeah, so I avoided
There
those
was
two.
also Infinity Wars.
Oh, I forgot about Infinity War.
I read that one, and I was on complete autopilot. I didn't. I think I was just reading it because I have a weird system when it comes to reading like weekly comics. I'm like, okay, this is a DC comic. Time to read a Marvel comic. Let's read another DC comic, like in a pattern like that.
Oh, and recently,
So,
I I made a video. I made a video review. I was a little late to the party, but on Scott Snyder's last Justice League comic, he essentially
uh,
the last one that he wrote. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with Justice League. I'm done with Scott Snyder
yeah, I
for
watched that
good.
review.
And, and I'm hoping that, and I was hoping that there would be someone out there being like, yo, you're reading this wrong. I'm like, please, how can someone be like, oh, he's a great writer? How does he end this story? Oh, um, all the events doesn't really matter, and the deities of the DC universe was gonna save the heroes anyways.
Okay, he stopped caring, and the reader stopped caring at that point.
I know, and and there was, I guess it goes back. There was cool moments in that story where this evil, the essentially the creator of the DC multiverse, what forgot her name. I don't, it's not important.
Perpetua,
There you go,
is
Perpetua.
that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
she literally has like the Justice League batting throughout history, where the Justice League are fighting in the past, present, and future, and that was so cool to see. That was so cool to see. John Stewart Green Lantern, fighting
Mhm.
with the original Green Lantern,
Yeah, I saw like parts of that,
or in
and
the
I only remembered like this happening because of the whole stink about like them revealing that JSA was going to be in Justice League comic, while Doomsday Clock was still running and they still hadn't resolved the whole JSA plot line.
And
That was all I remembered about that.
yeah, it was like the JSA in the past, and then in the future, they chose to be in the Batman Beyond timeline. So you got to see all the heroes during what would be in Batman Beyond, and that was cool
Really?
to see too.
I mean,
And all
only
for it
Batman
to just
Beyond is
not matter.
designated its own Earth. Like in that multiversity, it is designated its own Earth.
Are you enjoying this, Jack? You enjoying this conversation?
I have no idea what's happening. I mean, I kind of figured this is how the podcast was gonna be,
only
just
for
because.
only for a little. We don't want to we don't want to
Yeah.
exclude you. We don't exclude
Sorry,
too
my
much.
dude. Sorry,
It's
man.
like all about comics. I'm like, oh yay, fun.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry. He secretly likes these characters. He really does. It's just that once you
Someday.
it's just once you get deeper, you realize, wow, this is not worth it. I'll just stick to the animated movies and the live action ones, which is probably a wise decision.
And those CW shows.
Oh no, no, don't get him started. Do not
No,
get him started.
I have very long rants about those.
Oh yeah, and I've heard him
I know, I've heard them.
many a
Heard 'em.
time.
I yeah.
See, even he
That's why I
knows.
said it. I was baiting him.
Ah. Oh. Let's see. Let me check the time. Okay, we still got time. So I guess to be the final topic for we can officially close the episode, and I guess it's something I forgot to ask you, Ghetto, and it's an important question.
What
So,
up?
Ghetto, how do you like
Mhm.
your steak?
I'm pretty flexible here, but I like it in that medium range. Medium rare is good. Medium well, that's fine.
Those are
Medium well, you're
But you know
kind of
what?
pushing it.
yeah, you're kind of pushing it there, buddy.
Like I
But
said, I'm flexible. But you
mm,
know what? For the extra salt, I like it well done with ketchup.
Ew, ketchup. That actually does.
get out,
Sounds bad.
get out.
I don't like it like that. I was just saying that.
Okay, good. You scared me for a second.
I was like, oh.
Remember,
Like, I was already thinking about the taste combination. It just like was not. No.
just remember, Ghetto. It's speaking with two Texans over here, and we're
I know,
very
that's why I said it
we're
like
very
that.
serious about our steaks. That's why
I
we're
know,
so.
that's why I said that.
If
I
you
do.
really wanted to insult us, you would have said that you hated sweet tea.
Come on, I'm from South Carolina.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah. No. Any Southern man, if he hates sweet tea, just just go live up north with the Yankees. That's all I gotta say about that.
If I take a sip of unsweetened tea, I will just die. My body will shut down.
Alright, I have a thing against Hack where he
Oh boy,
could not, for the love of him, taste the difference between
here we go.
U.S. Coca-Cola versus like Mexican Coca-Cola.
Here we go. Here we go. Okay,
Really?
can I make a defense right here, right now? Can I make it?
No,
Go ahead.
Thank you, Ghetto. I'll make my defense here and now. So after further investigation on my own time,
Mm.
I have come to the conclusion that that they do not taste the same. They taste
But
similar. However, I can tell with the bottled one that there is more carbon than in a can.
mm,
With that said, Jack, I can safely say that I prefer the Mexican Coke bottle ones over any can ones.
thank you.
This
The
has
only
been
exception I would give you is McDonald's Coke.
this has been a public service announcement
Nope.
from the HACJAC Show. All
wait,
all opinions are to their own individuals.
wait a minute. The McDonald's Coke tastes different.
Yes, it does.
It hits differently. Not know that.
because from for supposedly it's because they say that something to do with how they package it
Mhm.
compared to other people.
Dog, if the quarantine wasn't happening, I'd drive to McDonald's right now and test it out.
Yeah, get a Coke from McDonald's and get a Coke from any other place. Taste them. The Coke from McDonald's tastes a little sweeter and more. Of course, this one has more carbon.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's more bubbly.
What I'm gonna share. I want to share with y'all something right now, and it'll become no surprise, but I just come to really upon reflection, upon reflection, and this is hard for me to admit. And you might permission
Oh
to
no.
laugh. You have a permission to laugh. But upon reflection, I realize this, that Sonic the Hedgehog was a bigger influence on me than I realize.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Hear me out. Hear me out. So, if you
All
were
right.
to meet me during between 2005 and 2008,
A 3 year period?
maybe a bit more,
Okay.
maybe between Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic and the Black Knight, during that time, during that time, I, I couldn't realize now looking back how much like I was so into Sonic. And I mean like into
You
Sonic. I
did.
was into
You didn't
Sonic.
have OCs, did you?
That would be
You
funny.
had OCs. Oh
Please
my
tell
god.
me. Please tell me you did.
Did you at least not have a hedgehog? You had a
I never got
hedgehog.
that far. I I never got that crazy nor that creative with it.
No,
But
he's
You
lying.
say this like OCs are creative. They just recolor.
I now I have drew Sonic on many occasions.
That's different.
Yeah, but I never got into do OCs because I didn't know that was a thing. Like during that
You didn't make
time, I was like
you
away
didn't
from the
make
internet.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
During that time, the internet was not a thing for me. So
No, okay.
I grew up with Sonic not knowing what he was breeding online.
Wow. It's just that I pictured this as, oh man, I'm gonna look up Sonic, and then you see a torrent of deviant art.
Oh
And
no.
also upon reflection, and I can admit this, that I remember when I finally started using the internet. And of course, I was looking up Sonic stuff. I was looking up videos about Sonic. I was looking up Sonic music, looking up new trailers. You know how hyped I was for the Sonic Unleashed trailer? I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever.
Oh no.
Yes, I saw that trailer so many times. And in that time, I was unaware, literally reading a Sonic webcomic.
Wait a minute. This wasn't the one where Sonic gets AIDS, is it?
No, no. It's literally some random dude's website. I don't have no idea. I remember him. All I do know is that he used the pixel art from the GBA games,
Oh, okay.
and I remember that he was trying to be such an edge lord that there was cursing and there was hedgehog on hedgehog action.
Oh
Oh
no.
my.
And remember I was very innocent, so I did not understand what I was reading. But through how weird it was, I kept going on. So,
Okay.
and looking back, I kind of realized what the heck I was reading, and that number one, they made Shadow like super gay. Like we're talking like every time you see him, they make him extremely emo and extremely gay for Sonic. And I was like, what?
Well, that's not right.
No, yeah. And anytime Knuckles and Rouge were the main focus of a comic, I was like, it was literally just the comic artist him going to do
It
lewd
was
situ
him just
lewd
showing his shit.
yeah, doing lewd situations that I didn't know I was looking at. And then and then and a whole bunch of other things I don't remember. And then when I finally, I
So
think, remember going back to it and seeing it, I'm like, oh my god, this is stupid. Why was I
I
reading
just
this?
imagine, I just imagine you eating something and then it flashed on you and you just dropped what you were eating. Like,
Possibly because I had a bad habit of sneaking food into my room during that time. Real bad habit. So, and these past few days, I found this YouTuber in which he gives like poignant analysis on the Sonic Adventure games.
mm,
And through it, I was like, you know what? You know, as much crap as Sonic has gone through throughout the years, I can't
mm,
deny how much that character and franchise impacted my like young kid's mind during that time, especially Sonic Adventure 2. Because when I saw that, like, think about this from my perspective. Video games at the time, to me, they were either Super Mario Brothers,
mm.
the original Prince of Persia,
Well, the 2.5D, the 2D one that was a side scroller.
the original, yes,
Oh, okay.
Pac-Man, and Galaga. That's what I thought video games were.
Uh,
And then put it with a kid with that experience, and then when you see him see Sonic the Hedgehog, especially Sonic Adventure 2, I was like,
your mind blown.
just exactly. My mind was freaking blown. I and through this guy's videos, this made me just remember that time I had with the Sonic franchise, and just as innocent and maybe it never got too weird. The only weird was that comic stuff, but it never got any weirder than that.
So you never got into Super Mario Bros.
No, I never got to Super Mario Brothers. No,
Really? Like
no,
that? Because, uh,
no. I eventually did play
that,
the games, and Super Mario Sunshine was the first Mario game. But you know, Sonic, as a thing in the child's mind, Sonic was cooler.
no, I mean, like, I was asking, did you ever get into Super Mario Bros. Z, like that web
Oh,
short series, where that is a rip that I'm not gonna say rip off. It's like just the Android Saga.
no, no, no! I never got down that rabbit hole. It
I
was a
got super into that in third grade.
oh
Just
god.
my joy.
And so
It's
these past few days, I'm just reflecting on it, and as cringy as it sounds, and maybe it's kind of stupid, but
oh
it,
no,
Sonic, at least Sonic Adventure 2, is a game number one. I have to replay now. I gotta replay that game just to see if it still holds up for me. But
is that is Sonic Adventure 2 like one of those games that you play yearly?
no, I don't even have a copy anymore. The only time I had it was when
Uh,
I had my GameCube, and that's long gone. So I have not touched that game since.
Spider-Man on PS1 is a game I'll play yearly. I can speed run that game.
I still got the PC version of that game, but I got no computers that can run it. So, yeah, so just going on that trip down memory lane, at one point you could definitely define me as Sonic fanboy. Thank God, through years of actual good games and growing up and maybe discovering anime, good anime.
It, I feel like liking Sonic mixed with discovering anime would have been the worst time period.
Oh man, because well, from Sonic I went to Naruto, but Naruto did not last. I don't forget what that was replaced by. I think it got replaced by Ben 10. In any case, but yeah, I would have been the biggest Sonic fanboy you could have at least witnessed. Obviously, yours bigger, but
So
uh,
did you get into the Sonic comics?
no, well, no, I knew they existed, but I never knew where to get them because I had very little knowledge of comics during that time.
Okay.
I knew they existed in the Sonic Mega Collection. There's a whole gallery of Sonic comic covers that I would see, and I'm like, man, that'd be so cool to read.
If
And but
anything, you dodged a bullet.
really, I've heard they were at least fun to read.
Yeah, until they got like, you know what? No, they were probably really fun to read just because of how crazy they got.
Is this before or after that weird green hedgehog?
What was his name? I know what you're talking about.
What was his name?
And he was an evil Sonic with like scratch marks on his chest.
And he had green fur, blue eye.
Scourge, that was it.
Scourge the Hedgehog,
Scourge.
that's right.
Yeah,
You
he
know
was an
Scourge the
evil
Hedgehog,
alter.
right, Jack?
I am still confused.
He was an evil Sonic from an alternate universe or an alternate pocket dimension. And he did something with the Master Emerald, and it turned him green.
What?
Ex- Okay, I'm explaining it as best as I can on the grounds of I never read these comics, so this is all secondhand, man.
The best
It might
kind,
be super more confusing.
the best kind of fan. But no, I never got into the comics. But there is a positive thing. There is a positive thing about all this. Okay, it's crazy because I mean, I'll admit, you know, it's for liking Sonic as much as I did between Sonic Adventure 2 all the way till what was the last time I cared about a Sonic game? It was like
Generations?
yeah, till Generations. But even then, it was core my like where it was if you see it as a chart, it was up, but then it slowly goes down. There's like a good down slope until where it's like rock bottom now. But I can't deny that because of Sonic, that's how I come to appreciate, you know, music in games. That's how I come to appreciate the type of games that I like to play now, and that because of Sonic, I got to know other types of. I essentially it helped me discover video games more than I ever could without Sonic. Because as a kid back then, the GameCube was my first system, and before I had the GameCube, I just had toys and whatnot. And anytime I would play a game, it was over at a cousin's house. But even and I had a desire to play games, but we never had the means to until I got that GameCube, and I was on that thing like fly on honey. And
So,
Sonic was just the perfect beat.
I don't know if you guys talked about it on the previous cast because I may have missed it, but how did you feel about
The Sonic what?
the Sonic movie, the one that came out?
Oh,
Ah, I see. Well, to figure that out, you have to watch HACJAC episode 29 for your answers, Ghetto Machine.
Okay, sure.
For our full response to that. And with
Okay, I'll
that,
put it on while I play Vidya.
good, awesome. Veg out a bit. And Jack, you're still with us?
yeah. So,
Okay. I thought
kind of. Throughout the whole conversation, I kind of spaced out, and then in the middle of hearing a green hedgehog that's evil Sonic, something like that, I snapped to. I'm like, wait, where am I?
welcome to the Sonic podcast.
Oh, dog, I haven't even told you about how Knuckles apparently was born in a microwave.
What?
Yeah, okay, so a bit from the Sonic comics is that like Knuckles is apparently was so powerful that they had to put him in a microwave when he was born to siphon off some Master Emerald energy. There's also weird stuff about how technically the Sonic world Mobius is post-apocalyptic.
Well,
Like these comics got weirder as they went on.
at the very least, I could safely say that Princess Sally never made me a furry, and that's a good thing. So, on that final note, I want to before we're gonna do our closer for this episode, um, and Jack, what will we doing to the next episode of the Hack Jack Show?
I'll be recording. Hopefully, whenever it comes out, I'll be recording Doom Eternal for the channel.
Ooh,
I,
I would love to watch that.
I'm
Not gonna
still in the
lie.
middle of editing Stardew.
All right. Make backup copies. You don't want to happen like last time.
Do you have like a Twitch or something?
Oh, what?
Do you have Twitch or something?
I do have a Twitch.
And what is that
Like
Twitch
Twitter?
channel, Jack?
It's under twitch.tv/Carmanic.
What was that again?
Twitch.tv/Carmanic.
Thank you very much. And lastly for me, uh, same old comic reviews. I'm gonna have to on my other projects that I have not talked about on video projects. I think I'm at to one I've been working on for too long. I think I'm about to restart it because I've upon hearing it again, I'm not ready to release it out, and it just sounds too. It sounds like
You're
how
not
I'm
happy
talking.
with it?
It sounds like how I'm talking right now,
Oh,
unfocused. So, so I might something to work on that behind the scenes, and that's pretty much just what's going on my end. And finally, our our thankful guest, Ghetto Machine. Is there anything you want to or you want to show off to let everyone in the world of the internet know?
uh, sure. I guess you can. I'm on Steam these days. You can follow me there on Brother Ghetto. The fight. But yeah, follow me there. I am on Twitch as Brother Ghetto the Machine too, but yeah, that's it.
All right, that's that, and that is just to make sure that I heard correctly in the audience is Brother Ghetto on Steam, correct?
Yeah, Brother Ghetto the Machine.
Brother Ghetto the Machine. Is that your full title,
No,
or is that or is
yeah,
that your second form?
that's yes, that's the second form. It's
Okay,
also a reference to it's also a reference to a comic book.
of course it is, and as well, and as well, do follow him on Twitter at Machine Ghetto. So, and because he's a pretty fun guy, I found since he's a pretty fun guy who tweets some very interesting stuff, and that's all you really need. All you really need to know. So, with all that said, thank you very much for watching episode 33 of the Hack Jack Show, and we will see you guys later. This is Hack. Sign out.
Bye, everyone.
Later.